There is a unique kind of betrayal that only comes from the people who raised you. For my entire adult life, my parents viewed me as a blank space meant to absorb their problems while my younger brother received all the praise. They thought my quiet life meant I was weak, but they forgot that I spent years studying housing law and property rights. That mistake cost them everything when they tried to hand my keys to someone else. My name is Valerie, and at 31 years old, I worked as a senior compliance monitor for the Regional Housing Authority. My family considered my career choice to be nothing more than tedious government paperwork that wasted my intelligence. My father always reminded me that I could have been a wealthy developer if I had accepted his financial assistance a decade ago. I refused his money because I wanted independence. Instead of taking handouts, I used my personal savings to purchase a small 1,200 square foot cottage back in 2013. The purchase price was $187,000, and I spent 12 long years upgrading the plumbing, painting walls, and fixing the roof myself. While the surrounding neighborhood gentrified and property values exploded, I stayed focused on turning that small property into my permanent sanctuary. My younger brother Tyler lived a completely different life in our parents' massive suburban estate. Tyler never maintained steady employment for more than a few months at a time, yet our parents celebrated his lack of ambition as creative entrepreneurship. They praised his reckless financial schemes during holiday dinners while criticizing my stable retirement accounts as boring and fearful. They truly believed that my achievements were secondary to his comfort. The text message arrived on a random afternoon while I was analyzing legal case files at my desk. My mother Beatrice informed me that Tyler and his pregnant wife Chloe were relocating into my residence the following morning. She instructed me to remove my personal belongings immediately because the growing family required the space. I stared at the glowing screen in complete disbelief before dialing her number to address this insanity. Beatrice answered the phone with a cheerful tone that quickly turned patronizing when I objected to her text. She laughed off my concerns, explaining that I was merely one single person living in a 3-bedroom home while Tyler needed stability for his future child. When I pointed out that my name was the only one on the deed, she dismissed the legal reality as a minor technicality. My mother insisted that family must support family, even if it meant sacrificing my entire existence for my brother. When I questioned why Tyler could not occupy one of the 4 empty bedrooms in their own massive house, she claimed they needed their crafting space and home offices. She told me that Tyler was already loading a moving vehicle and hung up the phone after telling me to leave my house key under the front mat. Cold wave of absolute clarity washed over me as I sat in the state housing office. I opened the local county property database to confirm that my title was completely unencumbered and free of any external claims. Then I accessed my professional legal database to download official cease and desist templates used for illegal evictions. I filled out the forms with my property information and printed them directly onto official state agency letterhead. I contacted the local sheriff department and spoke with a veteran supervisor named Officer Lawson regarding a civil property dispute. I explained that individuals were attempting to illegally occupy my primary residence without any legal authorization or lease agreement. Officer Lawson instructed me to meet him at the property immediately and warned me not to engage with the trespassers until his patrol vehicle arrived at the scene. When I arrived at my neighborhood at 4 in the afternoon, a large moving truck was already parked blocking my driveway. Tyler was carrying my hand-restored antique furniture out of the front door, while Beatrice directed the entire operation from the lawn. Chloe remained inside their vehicle, completely unbothered by the fact that they were looting my life. I waited down the street until the flashing lights of the sheriff vehicle appeared, Officer Lawson approached my mother and asked if she possessed legal authorization to remove property from the residence. Beatrice smiled warmly and dismissed the situation as a private family matter involving a young couple who needed a home. I stepped forward with my folder, presenting my government identification, the original property deed, and the official legal notice to the officer while stating that I wanted these trespassers removed. The officer reviewed the paperwork and directly asked Tyler if he possessed a written rental agreement or any proof of ownership. My brother looked at our mother in silence before admitting that he had absolutely no documentation to support his presence. Officer Lawson informed them that they were committing criminal trespass and ordered them to return every single item to the house before vacating the premises. Immediately, Beatrice screamed that I was being completely heartless and destroying the future of my brother. But the law remained completely indifferent to her emotional manipulation. Tyler spent the next 10 minutes sweating as he carried my boxes back inside under the watchful eye of law enforcement. They finally drove away after my mother warned me that my father would ensure I regretted this day forever. Once the driveway was clear, Officer Lawson advised me to replace every lock on the house immediately and install modern security cameras. I completed the security upgrades that very evening and sent a final text to my mother stating that any future unauthorized entry would result in immediate arrest. My father called an hour later, screaming that my actions were entirely unforgivable and that I was no longer considered part of the family. The next morning, my regional supervisor at the housing authority confirmed that using the agency template was entirely appropriate given the severe property rights violation. She reminded me that I had spent nearly a decade defending thousands of vulnerable citizens from predatory housing actions. Hearing her validate my choices helped dissolve the heavy guilt that my parents had tried to weaponize against me since childhood. My mother attempted to ruin my reputation by launching a massive group text message with our extended family, claiming I had forced a pregnant woman onto the streets. However, my cousin Diana, who worked as a corporate attorney, asked me for the objective facts of the encounter. I forwarded the official police report and the timeline of events, which prompted Diana to expose the truth to the entire family group. The public narrative shifted instantly, causing my embarrassed parents to retreat into silence, while Tyler eventually moved into a standard rental apartment. I began attending weekly therapy sessions with a counselor named Dr. Vance to process the decades of emotional neglect. I finally realized that my parents never truly valued my incredible achievements because I refused to play the submissively helpful role they had designed for me. 6 months later, Chloe delivered a healthy baby girl, and though I sent a polite congratulatory card, I maintained my strict personal boundaries. I stopped attending toxic family events and instead built a beautiful new community filled with supportive friends who actually celebrated my success. My house is completely paid off now, standing as a beautiful monument to my resilience and hard work. I eventually realized that true family is not defined by blood, but by mutual respect and unwavering support for your personal boundaries. My parents did not view me as a daughter. They viewed me as a convenient resource to be exploited for the benefit of my brother. By standing my ground, I protected my home and finally discovered my own worth. If you think Valerie did the right thing by standing her ground against her family and protecting her home, hit that like button right now. Don't forget to subscribe to Revenge Shift and turn on notifications so you never miss another unforgettable story of boundaries, betrayal, and ultimate justice. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Would you have called the sheriff on your own brother, or would you have given in to your parents' demands? Let me know, and I will see you in the next video.